UNESCO is a standalone examination system developed using Java according to RMI architecture. Different types of users can sign into the system using their user credentials. Students can sit for examinations using the system. Lecturers can review those results, add, update, and remove examination questions. Furthermore, administrators can monitor, add, update, and remove examinations and students appropriately. Let me demonstrate the system now. I have opened my source code in Eclipse IDE and I have two projects, one for the server, another for the client. I have already started the SAM server on this computer and now I will start the UNESCO server. As you can now see, UNESCO server has been successfully started. My responsibility is to develop the functionality to support the lecture operations. And now I will start the client project by running UNESCO client.java file. Once the application has started, it will display the login window. Lecturer and student both will have the same login window, but will be directed to the relevant dashboard according to their role type. I'll be focusing on the lecturer role. Now I will sign in using my credentials. Over here we can see the module allocation categorized by the academic year and will differ from one lecturer to another. Each module will have one lecturer in charge. As you can now see, the signed-in lecturer has two modules for the first year first semester, one module for the third year first semester, and none for the fourth year first semester. Here are the examinations which has either started or finished relevant to the modules allocated for the signed-in lecturer. Now let us sign in with a different lecturer and check the difference. As you can now see, the signed-in lecturer has no modules for the first year first semester, one for the third year first semester, and again no modules for the fourth year first semester. Here are the examinations relevant to the modules allocated for the signed-in lecturer. Now let's sign in back using the first lecturer. Now while I am trying to sign in with these credentials, what happens if one of the credentials are typed incorrectly? In this case, system validates the given credentials and notifies the user of incorrect credentials. Now let us sign in with the correct credentials. Here in the dashboard we see a bar chart. This represents the gradings of the most recent examination of which the signed-in lecturer oversees. The four cards above hold total figures of relevant collections. First holds the number of modules the signed-in lecturer oversees, second the number of students enrolled to the system, and third the number of exams allocated for the overseeing modules. On the right we see an IP address. This is the IP address of the signed-in lecturer which is obtained through IP5 Web API. Here in the students panel, the table shows all the enrolled students, and if we click on a student, his or her information will be displayed in the grey panel above accordingly. We could also double-click a student to monitor his or her academic performance by the most recent examination that the signed-in lecturer oversees. Bar chart is generated using JFree Charts library. Furthermore, we could search students by his or her first name, last name, and ID. Here in the questionnaire panel, lecturer will be able to view all examinations which has not yet started and update the questionnaires respectively. The grey panel above will display the information of the selected examination accordingly. Let us view one exam questionnaire. Over here we can see that there are two terms, RQ0 and MaxQ. RQ stands for the remaining number of question slots that can be added to a questionnaire. At the moment, no more questions can be added. And MaxQ is to notify the lecturer that maximum number of questions has been filled, therefore no more questions can be added. Let us go back and see the status of the other exam questionnaire. Over here we see that the RQ is 30, which means 30 questions can be added to the questionnaire, and below create button to add them. Let us go back and update the previous exam questionnaire. Now let us double click and select a question to update. I'll change the same values in different order and click save. Once the question has been successfully updated, the pop-up notification will be shown to the lecturer to show the process outcome respectively. Now let us go to the MySQL database and check if the question has been successfully updated. Now I will double click on the same question and remove it from the questionnaire. Once the lecturer clicks remove, he or she will be shown a pop-up as such to confirm the removal. And if yes, the question will be removed. Let us go back to the MySQL database and see if the question was successfully removed. Now we can see that RQ is 1, meaning one more question can be added to the questionnaire and create button is visible. Let us click the create button and create a new question. Let us go back to the MySQL database and check if the question was created successfully. We could also search a question by its title as such. Here in the examinations panel, lecturer will be able to view all the started and finished examinations and their progress. The above grey panel will display the information about the selected examination accordingly. Once an examination has started or finished, the lecturer can no longer update its questionnaire. We can see a figure named as ES on the grey panel. This figure represents the number of students who has taken the exam. If we select one exam and press Stats button, it will display a bar chart which represents the grade allocation for the selected examination. A lecturer can also save a PDF file of the gradings for the selected examination as follows. This is done using Jasper Reports, another library to export PDF files. Furthermore, lecturer can also email these gradings to other relevant parties. Now I will mail the gradings to my personal and university mail as follows. This is done using Java Mail, another library to send mails, and Quick Charts Web API to add charts to it. Let us now look at the code implementation. To develop this system, we have used object-oriented concepts such as abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. Abstraction is a key concept of object-oriented programming. Its goal is to handle the complexity by hiding unnecessary details from the user. This enables the user to implement more complex logic on top of provided abstraction without having to worry about all the hidden complexity. Let us now take a look at how my code uses abstraction. In my code, Unisco interface.java file uses abstraction. All the methods defined in this class are abstract, and the body of these methods are implemented in the server side. RMI stands for Remote Method Invocation. It is a mechanism that allows an object residing in one Java virtual machine to access and invoke an object running in another Java virtual machine. RMI is used to build distributed applications. Event-driven architecture is a programming paradigm in which the flow of the system is determined by events, for example, a mouse click triggered by the user. In the Unisco system, I have implemented RMI architecture to be followed by event-driven programming. Simple example for implementation of event-driven programming can be seen in login content panel.java file.